Hello, my name is Oluwaseun Johnson, and I work as a software engineer for the Cosmos Research Lab. So basically, my task here as a software engineer is to work on the back end for the application called BlogTrackers. So the BlogTrackers application is an application used to monitor and suggest insights in a drill down fashion from blog data using content analysis, trend analysis, sentiment analysis, emotion analysis, and these analyses are being gotten from the data we crawl from blogs. So we crawl data from blogs or articles, and we put that into our application, and our application is used to provide useful insights from these data. So the block trackers application is primarily the backend is primarily Java and uses the Maven automation framework. The front end is CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. So, and also for the back end, we have our database primarily on MySQL, and we use Elasticsearch for indexing and searching, and also for some form of aggregation. We so this is the landing page of the application, and to just access the application, you just go to btracker.host.ualr.edu. So once you do that, then you get to the landing page of the application, and this is it. And also, Block Trackers is a research-based tool, and it's still under development, and it's user-friendly. You can use it to track blogs and gather useful insights from these blogs, which I'll show you very soon. Then, so these are like a summary of all the things you can do with the application. We have the sentiment analysis, network trend analysis. So posting frequency, keyword trend, influence analysis. We have two new features that we're currently working on, which is the cluster analysis and the narrative analysis. I'll show that later in the lecture. So with these are our funding bodies that fund us to do this research. And as we all know, the project Block Trackers is being developed by the Cosmos team. So I'll quickly show you how to, create an account, register the application, and you'll be able to use the application. I already have a pre-existing email address and password that I already created, but I'll quickly show you just in case you want to register with your own email address and log in to use the application. So to do that, you click on the login as I just showed you to go to this page, then you register now. To register, you just put your full name. So for this one, I'll just put tester, and you put an email address. So let's say we want to use, let me just put my email address for my school. Then I put a password. Mind you, your password has to have an uppercase, a lowercase, a number, and also a character. A character in the sense, I mean, like maybe exclamation mark, at sign, dollar sign, or whatever. So I put my password again, and I register. Okay, password does not match. Okay, email already in use. So for this one, I'll just give you like an email that's not been used. I don't just say tester testing gmail.com. I think I still have the same email address there. So now I have registered the application, then I can log in using that email address, then my password, type my password. Yeah. So when I log in, I get to this landing page again, and what I can do is, go to trackers. So right now we have 0 trackers, and that's because we haven't created any tracker, but which we will do very soon. We'll create a tracker and we'll track a blog. So once you go to home, home is like the landing page for the blog browser. So basically, it just shows you right now that we have about 3 million posts that we've crawled so far. And on the blog browser here, we have the title of the blog, the title of the post where of that particular post, the blogger, and the date where the post was, posted. So that being said, if you want to create a tracker, another cool feature of the application is you could search for a word. So let's look at, let's say, vaccine, which is like one of the trending things right now based on the coronavirus. So if I search for vaccine, I'm waiting for a result where I have post contents that have vaccine being mentioned. Um, this should take a bit of time. So we get results for vaccine. So as we can see, we have about 30,000 posts that mention vaccine. And for that, we see blogs that mention vaccine. I mean, from this result here, we can see that the title of this post has vaccine. Title of this one has vaccine. We can also, go deeper into this post to just confirm. For example, this one doesn't have vaccine as a title, but if I go to the blog post here and I scroll down, if I let's say let me just search for vaccine, I see being, vaccine being mentioned in the post contents. So that being said, let's go ahead and create a tracker. So to create a tracker, you select the blogs you want to track. So in this case, I'll select InfoWars and I can also select global news. For demo purposes, I want, so also you could select all. So we have 574 blogs in total that talk about, that have post contents that talk about vaccine. But for demo purposes, I would not select all of them. I will just select InfoWars and global news that I'm going to track. So for that, select those two blogs, I track two blogs. Usually, you should see like a list of trackers that's maybe you've already created, and you could add these two blogs to the tracker you already created. But in this case, it's a new user, so no tracker has been created. For that, would have to create a new tracker. So I'll just say vaccine test, and this here I'll just say to track vaccine stories. So you track vaccine stories, then I create a tracker. So once you create a tracker, you should go to the dashboard page. So once you wait for a while, it sends you to the dashboard page for that tracker. So mind you, once you get to the dashboard page, you see some computations like, okay, it's computing your top keywords. So that actually takes a while. And these other ones have been computed. Then also your clustering analysis also takes a while because and your top domains also has to take a while for it to be completed. So you have to wait a while to compute these cards. Um, For that being said, I'm going to use a tracker that have that has already been computed for you so you can do some analysis. But when you're creating your own tracker, you have to wait a while for these things to be computed before you can do any analysis. So this is a tracker that has already been we've been using, and sorry, this is a user that we created, and we already loaded a lot of trackers on it. So if you go to this tracker here, you see I'll be the list of trackers. You see a lot of trackers that we've been tracking, a lot of blogs that we've been tracking. So I already worked on creating this tracker for us for the purpose of this demo. So, I mean, this is what we're looking for, the global news and the info wars, which I already created before. So if you go to this proceed to analytics, you'd have the dashboard. And let's quickly go over the components of this dashboard. So this dashboard is showing us that we have two blogs that we're tracking. And these two blogs have about 34,000 bloggers in them that are posting frequently. And this tracker has 282, about 283,000 posts, content, and we have about 1 million comments, almost 2 million comments in this tracker. It also shows you the history of the tracker in the sense that the initial date on the tracker is January 30, 2008 to March 28, 2021. This card here shows you the most active location. So mind you, the location is also being populated by the server's IP address. We have like a flip here to show you the blogs and the location where these bloggers are blogging from. So the IP address of the location of the IP address where they are blogging from. So and is all of them are in the US. This next card here is the language usage. So as you can see, we have predominantly more of English. We can also have like a flip view here to check the actual numbers for these languages. So if you flip here, you see the actual number of frequency, like the amount of posts that have these languages. So we have about 282,000, predominantly mostly English. Then we have some posts in Dutch, we have some posts in French, we have some posts unknown, we have some posts in Norwegian, and so on. The next card is the posting frequency card. The posting frequency basically shows you a trend line of activities of how these bloggers are posting over the years. So from here, we see that 2016 has a peak of posts. Now, mind you, remember we searched for the keyword vaccine. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean that vaccine was like they had the highest activity of vaccine in 2016. So basically, this overview here just shows you like an overview of those two blogs in general. Moving forward, I'll show you how we can narrow down and we can filter by date and we can just get maybe for this year alone. But this one just shows you data from 2008, 2021. So that's why we have just like an overview of all the blogs and how they are blogging in general. This is not related to any keyword right now, just related by date. Now, an overview of these two blogs based on like keywords. You can see they're talking about advertisements, talking about story, talking about government, talking about people, talking about health, talking about Trump, president, Canada, and so on. And for this sentiment here, we have the overall tracker is pretty much a positive tracker in the sense that sentiments are more on the positive side than the negative side. The blog distribution shows you the two blogs that we picked. So if you hover over the bubble chart, we see global news having a total number of posts of 156,000 posts, and InfoWars has the number of posts of 126,000. For the blogger distribution, it shows you, it should show you the bloggers in the tracker based on how often they post or the number of posts that they have. So in this case, we have Slav, Conic, and Phil having 4,000 posts and the rest. We also calculate most influential blogs. So global news tends to be more influential compared to InfoWars. Now, to calculate how a post is influential, we tend to look at the activities of these blogs and to see how many comments they get over time, and also how often people read these comments. So that would give us how influential these blogs are. I mean, you can have just one blog, or just a blog has just one post, and that post has a lot of comments. That should show you that people are actually engaging in that blog. So there's an algorithm for that to calculate most influential blogs, but it has to also do with the amount of comments, the activities of these blogs, and to show you how people are engaging in these blogs. You can also have like a drop down here to show you most influential bloggers. So this shows you by staff is very influential. Then by staff associated Canada is also very influential. Now, topic modeling here is just to show you like an overview of each topics. Basically, what this is trying to tell you is the amount of terms. So it's just showing you like a relationship between each of the topics. So if I hover over topic 7, what this is trying to tell me is that topic 7 is more similar to topic 4 compared to topic 1. And that shows you based on the chords that go from topic 7 to topic 4. The chords that go from topic 7 to topic 4 are larger than that goes from topic 7 to topic 1. So in that case, topic 7 is more similar to topic 4 compared to topic 1 based on the terms that occur in 7 and occur in 4. So we have clustering analysis. So the clustering analysis here is just showing you like also from another form of similarity. So it's just to show you like what blogs or what blog posts are similar in terms of like content or in terms of what they're talking about. So I will show you a deep dive analysis of how these blogs are related or how these blogs are clustered to show you how they are related. So for the clustering, we use the k-means for clustering, and that gives us a computation of how to cluster these blocks. So right now we just have 10 clusters, and for those 10 clusters, you see how these posts are related. Another page that we're currently working on is the narrative page. So the narrative page shows you like a high level of entities. And for these entities, we have narratives that are related to those entities. So entities are in a sense, we can call them like keywords. And for those narratives, we see blog posts that have mentioned those narratives. So I'll show you a deep dive analysis of that, and we shall dive into each of these components very soon. This is for the whole domain. So for the whole tracker, we have list of domains for trackers and the amount of times these domains occur. So for InfoWars, I think this is for info store. So it shows you that this domain occurs in most of the posts that they occur about 130,000 times. You can also have like a drop down here to show you the list of URLs. So URLs in the sense that so outlinks, I call them outlinks. So all the post contents are there. It shows you all the URLs that are present there. So you can also sort by frequency, and this shows you all the URLs that occur that in all the posts basically. So one other cool feature here, as I was going to show you, was we could filter by date. So let's say we want to start from December, let's say December 1st, 2020, up till let's say the 29th of March. Then we can submit that. So this will narrow down our search to just a little bit of last year till this year. So once you do that, you can see that we still have two blogs. Then the number of bloggers has reduced to 1,500. Then we have just 8,000 posts here filtered for that date. Then we have little amount of comments. Then the history still remains as 2008, 2021. Um, they are predominantly still blogging from the US, and the language usage here is only English. So the posting frequency here, since we've narrowed it down to just 2020 to December 2020 to March 2021. So we have the peak here at January 2021, which shows you that a lot of posts were posted on this January 2021. Then the keyword trend, we see related keywords that are related to vaccine. So we see health, we see COVID, we see advertisements, we see Canada, we see government, we see vaccines, we see pandemic, we see coronavirus, we see Trump, we see people, and so on. Then the sentiment is still predominantly mostly positive, and the blogs are still they still remain the same. We still have most influential blogs and so on. So the next thing we're talking about is I'll be showing you a deep dive into the posting frequency. Um, Also, I'm going to be loading everything up because because sometimes because the data might be large, so I advise you load everything up in a new tab so you can get a better analysis of what you're working on. So next I'll load everything up and I'll show you each of these components in a deep dive analysis. So for the positive frequency page, um, we have to, it shows you a trend of these bloggers in the tracker and how they are, posting. So for this one, would like to filter based on like when vaccine story started. So we start from let's say December 20. But before we do that, um, we see everything being populated here. We see the top bloggers based on their posting frequency. So by staff, the Associated Press comes on top of the list, and it shows you a trend of the data. So they posted more around 2016, and it shows you the total post for this, the percentage of these bloggers, the amount of posts he has compared to the 10 bloggers that are here. So it's more of 24%. And it shows you the overall sentiment of that blogger. So it's mostly positive. And The active location is in the US, as I showed you at the dashboard. Then the most used keyword for this blogger is advertisements. For the keyword being used by this blogger, we see advertisement being used most of the time. Then we see vaccine, we see cool, we see government, we see Trump, we see protesters, we see health, we see coronavirus, we see China, we see story, all that. Then we see Biden. Then we it shows you the list of posts that this blogger has, posted. So this shows you post titles of the post and the date the post was posted. You see on the most recent one of March 28, 2021. So this also shows you a it's kind of like a snippet of the post content. So we one of our sponsors requested for this feature because they didn't want to visit the post directly. You can visit the post directly, but because of bugs, because of malware attacks, they requested for this feature for them to view the post here instead of going to the site itself because they didn't want their site because some of these blogs have malware that can infect their systems. So they requested for this feature to view the post on the application itself. So we're viewing here the post contents. We can read the post contents, the blogger who posted this, the amount of comments. He didn't have any comments, and the date it was posted. You can select another one. We'll show you about that. We can select another one, show you another one. You can also sort by that. Then show you another one, another that. Um, we can we can select two bloggers at the same time. So if I select infowars.com, it shows you an aggregation of the two bloggers, and you can see that our total post increased from 42%. So it increased to 42% in the sense that we added the amount of posts for by staff and also for the infowars. And the viral sentiment here is positive. Then the post location here is the US. So keyword takes some time to compute, but you just have to wait for the keyword to compute. Then we have keyword has computed, and we see that the combination of these two bloggers, they talk about Trump the most. So before it was advertisement, but now they talk about Trump the most. Um, Trump, we see InfoWars, we see presidents, we see American, we see media, and all that. Then we still have this person talking about this um, same post content. So yeah, one other cool thing here is that as I was going to do before was to filter based on dates. So we'll narrow it down to December. So we can select from December 1st, 2020 to March 2021. So once we submit that, we wait for a while and it shows us the trend of these bloggers in that year range. So right now we see the keyword trend has changed, but we still have predominantly Trump. So we have, vaccines, we have COVID, we have Trump, we have military, we have capital, we have presidents, and that. Then I can add more bloggers to it to show you the trend. So now you can see it's changed to 55%. And we have people as the most keyword there. And yeah, so basically also the trend shows you um, they were posting mostly compared to, for this year range, they posted mostly in January for that. So the next one I'll be showing you now is the keyword trend page. So for the keyword trend page, it'll show you the keywords and how they are posting based on those keywords. So this is the landing page of the keyword trend page. And as you can see, what this page is trying to say is the story. So we have list of keywords here, right? And we have story, we have advertisements. So these keywords are arranged based on occurrence. And this trend line shows you how these keywords were used over the years. Story was used the most in 2020 and it occurred, and that was used 2020 about 78,000 times. It shows you that two blogs mentioned this, which were the two blogs we selected, which is InfoWars and Global News. Then we have the keyword count in total for this whole tracker. Story occurs 448,000 times and it occurs in 153,000 posts. And the location where obviously will be the United States because the two blogs we selected for the tracker are posting from the United States. Also, it shows you um, where story was mentioned. So we see story mentioned 14 times in this post here, and we see story mentioned in this post here, 12 times in this post here, 12 times in this post here. And you can read up on the post in this portion here. Um, you can also select multiple keywords to see the trend. So if I click on Trump and story, it shows me a trend of Trump and story. So from what I see here, I see Trump is of the color, stories of the color purple, then Trump is of the color pink, pinkish. So story is, spoken about more than, Trump. And also we can have the combination of story and Trump, where we have this post title here, and Trump occurs that the count of Trump and story in this post is 32, and we have a highlight of how many the times Trump was mentioned, and also we can see here that story was mentioned here. So I'm pretty much sure that if we count everything, the amount of Trump and stories here and story mentioned in this post, we have 32. So so since this tracker is based on vaccine, we can also search vaccine. So if I search vaccine, we see a trend of vaccine, story, and Trump. Now, it dynamically assigned colors to the keywords. So vaccine is now the purple one, and story is the pink one, and Trump is the blue one. So we see vaccine being mentioned in 2020, but you can see it's below here because Trump and story kind of overshadows that. So if I unselect Trump here, I have my vaccine and my story. And let's say we just want to we just want to see posts that mention just vaccine alone. So we can unclick story and just focus on vaccine. So we see vaccine being mentioned most in 2020. And the post that we have vaccine mentioned the most is the titled How Many Canadians Have the New Coronavirus, Total Number of Cases Confirmed. This post was mentioned in 2020 in March, so 2020. So we see the amount of vaccine. So um, can read up on that. You can also select a new post to see what it's talking about and all of that. Then we also have like a summary here to show you all the keywords, their frequencies, their post count, and blog counts. Um, so you see here that the graph we're using here is different compared to the graph you see on most of the pages. That's because this is an old graph and we are still in development. So we are going to change the graph here to the old ones. I'm sorry, to the new ones. So also, if you tend to use this application and you have any issues, don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I shall help you navigate your way through the application. Or if you see, or if you see any bug on the application that you're trying to, or maybe you run into any bug on the application, just let me know, and we shall, we shall fix it and we shall sort it out. So just play around the keyword trend, try to search for keywords. You can search for COVID. Um, it aggregates COVID and vaccine together and shows you, I mean, this is pretty cool. You see that COVID just occurs in 2020 and 2021, and vaccine started from way back. You can also search for the coronavirus. So you can also search for, let's say, coronavirus, and it just shows you like an aggregate of everything all together, showing you the trend of everything. And also we can, narrow down to 2017 when vaccine was, spoken about in 2017. So this shows you post that mention vaccine, COVID, and coronavirus in 2017. But from what I see here, we only see vaccine mentioned 2017. So it's predominantly just going to be vaccines. You can also, select this one, select this one. Let's say we want to know posts that mostly posts that were spoken about in 2020. So want to narrow down to 2020, you can have that for 2020. So just play around with the application and let us know what you find. So next up would be I'll be talking about the sentiment page. So here we have the sentiment page here, and it just shows you like an overall sentiment analysis of the tracker. So what we have here is a trend analysis showing the amount of sentiments over the years. And we see, for 2016, predominantly have the most amount of sentiments there. So we also see the blog posts arranged based on the post title for each of the sentiments that occur in general. So we can, if you select this post here, it shows you the post content, like what is this post talking about the most. We see the post talking about work compared to leisure or region or religion or money or death, but it kind of talks mostly about work. Then we can also have more dimensions and to see it's focused on the past the most compared to present or future. So it's focused mostly on past content. Also, we also need to take note that the sentiment page is being computed So there's an algorithm, we use something called LIWC to compute these dimensions. So you can read more about LIWC to know more about how these sentiment dimensions were computed. We also use the Google Perspective API to calculate some form of toxicity. We use that for toxicity. So I will show that in a bit. But for this one, this post here is talking about more of power in relation to affiliation or achievement or reward or risk prevention. So it's focused more on power. Also, it's based on cause. It's not tentative. It's not on insight. It's not on discrepancy. It's not on certainty. And the post is more on the analytical side of things. It's analytical thinking. It's not an emotional one, or it's not based on cloud or authentic. So it's mostly on the positive side. It's not in on the negative side or anger side or sadness or anxiety. And also for toxicity, obviously it's positive, so there's no any form of toxicity for this post. So just play your hands around this um, dashboard and see how you can infer insights from the on what you get. Let me see if this works. I'm trying to see if we can, you know, filter based on dates for the page. So, okay, this works. So we can, let me pick from 2020. So let's go back to December 2020 and select, let's say, 2029, then filter based on that date. So we see more data for 2021 compared to 2020, or it's more of sentiment, it's more of positive or negative sentiment in 2021 compared to 2020. And we see this one is talking about coronavirus here, and it's talking more of work. It's not about death, it's just work. Um, let's look for a post that's talking about. Let's just stick to this one and just scroll through the dimensions, and see how that makes sense to your analysis. So, yeah. So, the next page I'll be talking about will be the blog portfolio. Then from there, we'll talk about the blogger portfolio. Then we'll talk about the influence analysis. Then, after that, we'll talk about the topic modeling, the clustering, and the narrative. Lest I forget, there's this other page for the sentiment, which is so this is under standard development. So basically, it's changed to emotions. So we want to know over like the trend of emotions. If it's talking about joy, fear, anger, trust, disgust, sadness, surprise, or anticipation. So from what we have here, it's mostly joy, um, and some part of then we have some that have fear. We have some that talk about anger, trust, disgust, and all of that. So this is still under development. So we're gonna it's on the test endpoint now. So once that is done, we'll push it to the live, the main page. Yeah. So this is going to be under development. So the next is the blog portfolio. So basically, the blog portfolio here is just showing you everything about the blogs. So we selected two blogs, Global News and InfoWars. So here it shows that Global News has a very high influence. So the influence here is the influence compared to the other um, blog. So in relative to the other blog, so Global News here is very high, and top keyword is advertisement. It's has a total of 156,334 345 blogs, and its sentiment is very negative. So this sentiment also is relative because compared to the info was, this is very negative. So pretty much if I switch to info was, this should be very positive and this should be very negative. So if I switch to info was, this should be the other way. So we should have, obviously that was very high, this was very low, that was very negative, this was very positive, and we have the post to be 126,000 instead of the other one, which was 137,000. So overall, we have the posting trend here to be 2016, and also you can see that top keyword here is people instead of advertisements. So for InfoWars, we have the top trend. So I think the bloggers in the InfoWars blog posted the most in 2016. And now we have the pattern for trend. So for the weekly trend, we see the bloggers here post the most on Monday, and you can see that they post the least on Saturday and Sunday, which is okay because I mean they post during the week and maybe they rest during the weekends. The monthly trend we see like some form of a flat line here, and in the sense that it's pretty constant and they've been posting from January all the way to December. You can also, see the post for this blog in general, and you can see that the one of the posts here we have is 2019 and talking about Trump administration, and we have the list the post content here. So as I said, we can view the post here. If I click on this, it redirects me to the post content here, but I think the post has been brought down. But it should redirect you to the post here. But based on our sponsors, as I said, we some of them don't want to visit the post itself because of malware attacks. So if we go to this one is also not found. So let's try and look for one that's we'll probably find one. Let's think we'll find this one which is in 2020. Not found also. Um so we also have like list of domains for the blog. So it shows you list of domains and the amount of times the domains occur in the blog. So let's see if this. So since it's still under development, and I'll try to see if we have pushed this to the live. So I'm trying to filter based on the date, as we've been filtering in the previous analysis. So if I filter here now, okay, yeah, it works. So let's do back to this. So you can see there's a decline in April, May, June, July, August, December. So, but they posted the most in January and February, and they had like mostly all the posting frequency on a Tuesday. And Recent posts here are from 2021, and let's see if there's anything that has to do with vaccine. Okay, so we have some posts that talk about vaccine here. And this was March 20, and we have the post here. We have domains that occurred during that, you know, that date range and their frequencies. Yeah, so just play around with the application and try to infer some insights using this analysis. So next we're going to be talking about is the next thing here we're going to talk about is the blogger. So for the the blogger, so um, the blogger is showing you pretty much same thing for blogs, but in this case, we are showing you based on the blogger itself. So we have the, so let me just refresh the page. So we have the list of bloggers here arranged in based on how often they're posting, right? So influence here is very high. It has the highest influence compared to the other list of 9 bloggers that are there. Its top keyword is advertisement. He has 16,000 posts. Its sentiment is negative compared to the other bloggers. I'm pretty much sure if we pick, let's say, another blogger, so mind you, that was high, this is going to be low, and this is also negative compared to the other bloggers. So, post here is 2,600. So, top keyword is very it takes a lot of power to compute, so you have to wait a little bit for that to compute. So, I mean, this is also talking about advertisement. So, if we, same thing, same pretty much same thing with the blog, but this is for the blogger trend. So we have for 2017 is predominantly the higher one here, and this blogger posts most of the times, post the most on Sunday, and he has like a irregular pattern of posting based on, I think the peak here is he posts most in January and in December. So it kind of rests during the summer, basically, or like before the summer. He doesn't really post much. The Then we also have the list of the posts. I also have like a snippet of the post content. The blogger himself, the date the post was created. Then this blogger didn't have any no list of domains. Um, so you can also visit the global news site here. So you have the list of global news here. So yeah, so I think you should also be able to filter based on dates here also. So if I go back to 2020, and I go back to December, this is December 1st. We could also, let's say, go for maybe October, or we could do this and submit. And yeah, so this was pretty much faster. So it shows you another form of trend again. So we have very low for that guy. Then the post is 193 posts for just that year range, and still posting the most on. So I think this is a ball here. It should be in 2021. So this is still under development. So we still also have to change this graph here. So we would take that, we would take note of that and change that on the graph. But I think this one's work. He posted the most on Fridays and Wednesdays, and he posted the most in March. And these are the list of the posting 2020 and 2021. So just play around your hands around the application, and let us know what insights you find. And if you see any bug, just don't hesitate to reach out to me, and I shall sort it out. So the next one we're going to be talking about is, I think it's the influence. So for the influence, so pretty much influence is just, how influential these bloggers are. So let me quickly just reload the page. So we have that. So this is listed based on how influential these bloggers are. So for this blogger, it seems to be the most influential in all the blogs for that tracker. So we see 2018 was when he, posted the most. He has 958,000 comments, and he has a total of two posts and viral sentiments, unknown. So I think this should be a bug. We'll fix that. Then influence score is very high, and this is, will I say the keyword, word cloud of the words he uses the most. He talks about women, racist, video continues, Facebook, police, restaurants, and this is a scattered plot to show, it's a scattered plot to show the activity by influence. So if you hover over this one here, we see influence of 22 2,283, then an activity of 16,000. So that being said, activity is like the total amount of posts for that blogger and the influence score. So in as much as he had a lot of activities, he also has he doesn't really have as much, influence compared to this blogger here. This blogger had just two activities and he had a lot of influence. So people were mostly interested in what he said just twice. Like, so for example, he posted just two posts for that portion, and he had more influence at that time. So I guess they engage him a lot of times. So you can see here that, I mean, I spoke about having, just two activities here and an influence of, 40,000. So these are like the two posts here, and you can see that there were a lot of comments here. He had 2,400 comments, and this is the post. You can, read more about it and see why, people were mostly interested in what he was saying here. Also, let's check this out and see if this would work. So we go to 2020 and we check for December. Let's just check, say November 1st to 29th, and we submit. Okay, so I guess we don't have any influence score for those guys for that year range. Let me check out 2018. No, let's go to 2020. Let's check January 1st to now. Okay. So the next one, you just play around that and just, let me know what you find. So the next one is the topic modeling. So So this is the topic modeling page, and basically what's happening here is we have topics and we have like a trend line for each of these topics. So briefly, what this trend line is talking about is we have so for topic one, we have in 2010, we have about 7.5% of the posts here occur in topic one, 13.7% occur in topic two, and so on. So this topic one here, 99% of the posts here occur in topic one, and that's relative to we have 10 topics here. And topic one has 159 bloggers, topic one has 259 posts, and the blogger in topic one is the InfoWars. For topic one, it shows you the amount of the word cloud of the keywords being used most of the time in topic one. And for the chord diagram, we see when we hover over this guy here, we see that we have, so this just shows you like a form of similarity in relationships between each of the topics. So we see that 169 posts from topic 10 occur in topic 10, obviously. Then we have 45 posts from topic 10 occur in topic 1. So it just shows you everything related to topic 1. So we can see that from the chord diagram, we can see that 76 posts from topic 5 are in topic 1. So topic 1 is more related to topic 5 compared to topic 4, because we see that the chord going from topic 1 to topic 5 is larger than the chord going from topic 1 to topic 4. So topic 1 resonates more with topic 5 compared to topic 5. So compared to topic 4. And also it shows you the topic weights. So the posts that are present in topic 1 and their topic weights, and it just shows you like the post content of that post. So you can also select this, to view the next post and all of that. So the last table here shows you the list of keywords in each of the topics. So we have all the words for topic one, all the words that occur in topic two, and so on. So let's see if we find anything that has to do with vaccine here, COVID. So let me just quickly do a quick search. Okay, so we see that topic 3 is mostly talking about vaccine. So if we select topic 3 here, hold on. So let me quickly, reload the page. Reload the page. So when you reload the page, you have like another set of topics, being formed. So your topic one before would have changed to another topic. So if I scroll down now, we're looking for vaccine, right? So if I check for vaccine, so vaccine has now moved to topic 9. So for that, we click on topic 9. So where's my code for topic 9? I see topic 9 here. Once I click on topic 9, it shows me, vaccines, vaccination, toxic, cancer, children, and the trend shows in 2014, active, the blogger is activist post, that's the top blogger, and the post in 99 posts, and 4% of the post in topic 9, 4% of the posts in all the topics are in topic 9, and 72 bloggers have mentioned, 72 bloggers mentioned these keywords a topic talking about that. So we can, drill down into what's talking about. Talk about vaccine here, talking about muscle pain here, so in 2010. So we can, drill down, and, let's play around with the application and let's see what you find. So the next we'll be talking about will be the clustering page. So next up here, we have the clustering page. And so this is just showing you, so clusters, and it computes just 10 clusters. And we have the clusters here based on their distance from the centroid. So we have on load of the page, it shows you for cluster one. And for cluster one, it has a block distribution of 22%. So 22% of the post in cluster one is in cluster one compared to the other clusters. Then it has 8,000 bloggers mentioned, and it also contains 2,000 posts. And the location for this cluster is in the US, as we mentioned earlier. Now, this also shows you, keywords that are present in cluster one. You can see advertisement, you can see continuous, you can see story, you can see Twitter, you can see years, you can see people, police, and all of that. Now, the core diagram for the cluster is basically just saying, so since cluster one is selected, in that case, if you hover over like a chord here, it shows you we have 35 terms from cluster 10 in cluster 1. So basically it shows you similarities compared to, so it shows you similarity of the clusters compared to the cluster that's been selected. So because we selected cluster 1, it shows you similarity based on terms compared to in relation to cluster 1. So for example, we have 35 terms from cluster 10 in cluster 1. You can see this bigger code here. It shows you 71 terms in cluster 5, from cluster 5 in cluster 1. So we can infer from just looking at this that cluster 5 is more similar to cluster 1 compared to cluster 7. And that's because it has 71 terms similar to cluster 1 compared to 15 terms similar to cluster 1. So in this relationship here, we have cluster 1 being very similar to being the most similar to cluster 5. And also we have the list of posts, and it's arranged based on the cluster distance. I'll show you the cluster map very soon. So it shows you the posts so in relation to each other. So when I say cluster distance, I mean, how similar is this post, in the cluster. So basically, the cluster is talking about, an Usher silent genocide. So it's basically, I would say maybe like about war. And this is like a snippet of the post content here. So we can also, see the top keywords for each of the clusters. So for cluster one, we have advertisement, story, continues here, people, and all that. Then cluster two, we have Trump, we have total, we have presidents, stock, a mixture of different things. So let's look for anyone that maybe talks about vaccine or health. So let me search for vaccine. We don't have any vaccine here, but we have, let's see for COVID. Okay, so the one that is most, that closest to what we're looking for is cluster 8. So we can check out cluster 8 to do like a deep dive analysis on cluster 8. So if I select cluster 8 right here, what I'll be waiting for here will be a cluster map. A cluster map in the sense that we have clusters, we have posts that are clustered together, right? So this post clustered together will show me how, when I say clustered, how related each of these posts are. So now this is a simulation going on to simulate the clusters being clustered together. So that blue dot you see there is the centroid, and what this is trying to do is to balance out to see how related the posts are in the cluster. So for example, if I see a cluster right here, and it's saying something about 3 Canadian airports ramps up screening process for travelers. I see another one again. It's talking about Trudeau needs a legal weed market by 2019, and here's the timeline for 4 confirmed coronavirus cases. So I can say that this cluster here is talking about something that has to do with Canada and has to do with coronavirus. If we look at this other cluster here again, we see why federal leaders, despite criticism, are taking stronger constance in Quebec bill. Also, COVID-19, some about China and Saudi. So if you look at another cluster again, let's look at this cluster here. Here is a look at back at 8 of the biggest news stories 2015. 6 in 10 Canadians support for legalization, half support 21 is that. So it's basically talking about some things in Canada, but I mean they were posting that in the US. So if we look at for cluster 8, we see 2% of the blogs are in cluster 8. It has about 1,278 bloggers, 7,000 posts and mentions, there, and posting frequency. And the posting is located in the US. And now, if you look at the list of keywords there, we see coronavirus, we see cases, we see health, we see COVID, we see Canadian, and here we go, we see vaccine. So for the relationship, we see that cluster 3 is related to cluster 8 the most. So we can also check out cluster 3 to do like a deep dive analysis on what they're talking about. And if we sort based on cluster distance to see which post is related to this thing the most, we see something about talking about Ebola, which is so basically this cluster here is basically about health, about coronavirus, about any from some form of disease and all of that. So you can select this to check out the the post, what the post is talking about, and all of that. So this is from Zero Hedge. So that one is also from Zero Hedge, and that if we check vaccine, we see this 6 vaccine, which this was in 2014. So this is a 2020 UK or pet flu in history and vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. So this is talking about this was in 2020 in May. So there'll be something about WHO chief says distribution of vaccines key challenge in coronavirus. So this is just some pretty good insights you can infer from this cluster analysis. So you can also see this post here you are interested in. You can select it, and it jumps to the post here and it shows you the what's the post is talking about. So yeah. So the next page we'll be talking about will be the narrative. So before we go to the narrative, the clustering analysis, just so you know, is I think I mentioned this earlier, is the algorithm to compute these clusters is the k-means. So we have the k-means to compute the clusters, and we distribute them into 10 clusters, and we do some form of term frequency and inverse document frequency on these posts. We also use principal component analysis to convert the dimensions from the higher dimension to to 2 dimensions. That's to get the cluster map. So it shows you like a relationship between these clusters on how close are they are to the centroid. So the next thing we're going to talk about now is the narrative page. So for the narrative page here, we see Trump being so these are entities, right? So in each of those entities, we have each of those entities we have narratives. Each of those narratives we have posts that mention those narratives. So on load of the page, we see entities. These entities are arranged based on the amount of narratives that each of the entities have for that tracker. So for this tracker, we see we see Trump having the highest number of narratives. So in sense, we can also infer that in this narrative, this tracker is talking about Trump the most. Um, Also talks about coronavirus, Canada, the US, Canadian, Trudeau, and all of that. If we do a drop down on coronavirus, we see posts talking about the disease caused by the novel coronavirus, some about COVID-19, and other posts that talk about this narrative, the disease caused by the coronavirus. Another cool feature of this application here is that we can merge two narratives. So we click on this button here, we can merge. So we want to know, okay, what narratives talk about coronavirus and China. So when I select coronavirus, when I select China, if I sorry, hold on. So once I select coronavirus and China and I want to merge, I select the two posts, then I click on this. So this merges coronavirus and China. Then I get the drop down. I see talking about coronavirus and China. So I see this one here talking about, 45 coronavirus outbreak, Trump boast about something about China. So it has to do with coronavirus and China. So if I do this, if I do like a drop down here, it shows me all the posts that are talking about China, coronavirus, and this is like top 10, posts. And these posts are sorted based on the most recent ones. So we also have talking about China and coronavirus in these ones also. So another cool feature that this has is the fuzzy search. So fuzzy search in the sense that if I search for a word and let's say I make like a grammatical error in the spelling, the search feature has a way to kind of correct me and gives me some form of correction on whatever I search for. So let's say I want to search for vaccine and I maybe make a mistake in my spelling of vaccine. I do double C and I do double N. But we all know that vaccine should be spelled with a single N. So in that case, it still gives me vaccine, it gives me MMR, it gives me vaccines, it gives me US, it gives me Canada, it gives me Terramosa. So if I go to the drop down for vaccine, I see that doctors report vaccine reaction. If I click on this, I see 3 posts that are talking about this narrative, which is doctors report vaccine reactions. So also vaccine related issues here, we can see that here. Then we also have to check out you can also check out MMR, generative MMR vaccine, all that. We can also, you know, drop down these ones to, we can also merge, vaccine, can merge MX vaccine and CDC or vaccine, CDC and MMR. Let's see what posts talk about those 3 things at the same time. So you see some about CDC talking about, official coronavirus symptom. So these three things, if you do a deep dive, you select this one, you can see what they're talking about. The location was in China, and shed more light on the post. You can do your analysis, check it out, play around with the with the tool, and let us know what you find. I think you can also cancel this and not do that. So also another feature you could that this could do is to we can filter based on date. So if I click December again, you know what? Let's just do maybe 31st. Let's just say maybe 17th of December to let's say now, and we submit that. It does its own wrangling. So based on that, we see Trump as also being the highest now, still the highest. Then we see Canada, we see US, we see Biden, coronavirus, global news. So based on that date filter, we have coronavirus with 11 posts. We have Trump, and other stuff talking about Trump for that date filtered. Um, so um, so we have a new page for the narrative page. We have this one, we're still under development. So basically, this is going to be the new page for the narrative. So instead of clicking on the drop down, all of that, you just have your entity here. You select your entity, you select your narrative, it gives you a list of narratives. Then you select your narratives, it gives you a list of posts that are related to this narrative. Then you select the post, you see a preview of the post that you just selected on. You could also merge, so you can, put this together, then merge, then you select it, you have, post related to, well, this is a demo page. So this is not coming from any tracker or anything. So yeah, so this is that. So I think this is the last page I was going to show you. Let me know if you play around with the application, if you're trying to build any reports, or if you like see any bug that's we are open to it's still under development. So we're open to getting your feedback on when you use the application, and we can work on the feedbacks you have or any bugs you notice. So thank you very much for listening, and bye.